Hey there, everybody. This is Kristin from Teaching Balance, and I'm here with you with this week's mindfulness meditation practice. And we are in the month of gratitude. Of course, this is the month where we have Thanksgiving, which I'm very much looking forward to. I'm a big Thanksgiving fan. Yeah, I like it a lot. and it's just a nice opportunity just to very intentionally explore this idea of gratitude. Now, over the years, I've talked about it in a variety of contexts, and if you want to take a really deep dive on that, I would encourage you to do so in the Library of Practices. I think that's one of the major categories, is like gratitude and savoring and things like that. But for today, the thing that's really coming up for me regarding gratitude and what I'd like to explore for this week and invite you to reflect on this week is gratitude around when you choose to give yourself permission to do something or to be something or to move towards something, or however you might want to think about that. Now, for me, something that I've been kind of really focused on at the moment regarding giving myself permission is around the idea of giving myself permission to do less, which I talk about a lot, but there's something to be said for talking about and something that you aspire to when you talk about it in theory and when you actually exercise it in practice. And so even though I certainly give myself permission to do less in general, the way that's really kind of crystallizing for me right now is literally doing less work. And so that could be my mindfulness work, it could be my feng shui work, which I know many of you are familiar with, but really just letting go of this need to push myself to some sort of preconceived standard regarding what being productive looks like, and to really allow myself to instead, again, allow myself or give myself permission to just not do those things and to be a little bit more. You guys know that I'm retired from being an educator, and let myself be a little more retired than I have in recent years. So it's a work in progress for me, but I really do think that by being willing to look at what we are resisting giving ourselves permission to do, even though ultimately we are feeling called to it. We're perhaps articulating that we want it, but we're not necessarily acting on it and being in alignment with it. And allowing ourselves just to cross that chasm between talking about it and saying that we're drawn to it and saying that we want it, and actually giving ourselves permission to do it, embody it, embrace it, whatever it might be. So again, my example being doing less, working less. So just to reflect on, what would the thing that you would like to give yourself permission to do look like? Is it about, trying to be perhaps slightly less perfectionistic? That's another one of my challenges. Or putting less pressure on yourself to be as social if you don't necessarily feel nourished by being social. Or, the reverse of that, giving yourself permission to see people and be with friends even though you might feel drawn to stay with your nuclear family, or to prioritize your work over social connections. You get the idea. I'm just riffing here, but that's the point of it. So I would encourage us to have gratitude for those things that we're drawn to, and then have gratitude for the possibility that we can actually give ourselves permission to act and be and embody what those things are that we say we are interested in basically getting to. So that was a little bit of a roundabout, but that's really what I was feeling inspired to share, and also just to share with you my journey, because I really feel like I've had a little bit of a breakthrough lately with that, coming from a family of origin where you kind of had to always be working to be valued and considered worthwhile. I'll drop that bomb right before I said it. All right, I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes. We're just going to do our regular practice. And I've been talking a lot in our recent practices, so I'm going to try to be a lot less leading and chatty and have us have a little bit more silence and spaciousness. So if you haven't already, go ahead and close your eyes or lower your gaze. I love just doing this, rolling my shoulders back, opening up my chest, taking those deep breaths. And allowing your breathing to resume its natural rhythm. Remembering you can always go back to the deeper breaths whenever you feel like you'd like to. Remembering that you can rest your attention either on the breath and sensations associated with the breath, the body, either one part of the body or your body in its entirety. And also remembering you can choose to rest your attention on sounds, moment-to-moment sounds, inside the room, outside the room, even sounds from within your body. And even open awareness, just noticing from moment to moment whatever you can notice in your real world physical experience for these few minutes that we practice together. So let's go ahead and sit in silence for a while, and I'll check back in a little bit. Noticing if the mind has wandered into thought, which we all know is highly likely. And before you pivot away from that thought and back to your anchor, if you care to, you can just label that thought. Was it a plan or an idea? a worry or a memory. You just slap a little mental sticky on it with whatever label you'd like, just so that you have a little bit more clarity about it. And then you're not pushing it away, you're just shifting your attention back to where we are right now in this moment, resting our attention on our breath or our bodies or sounds, knowing that that thought and all the others will be waiting for us when we're done. Noticing where the mind is and bringing it back. No big deal if it's been pulled into thought. Just bringing your attention back, pivoting it back to where we are. And remembering every time you notice your mind is lost in thought, that's that mindfulness bicep curl, where you're strengthening your mindful awareness, your metacognition, and your self-awareness. So let's sit together for the last minute and a half or so until the final bell. 10 minutes. I don't have anything to add. So, as always, thank you so much for taking this time for yourself, and thank you for allowing me to accompany you on this journey. And I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.